This next tip, when I first learned it, it was just sort of like, OMG, why did I not think of this? How did no one tell me this sooner? How have I been knitting this long and not, like, blew my knitting mind. Hello knitting fam, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Carrie Craft Geek, and this is where I talk about making pretty things with pretty string, normally with 2 pointy sticks. And although technically all you need for knitting is 2 pointy sticks and some yarn, let's be honest. There are some tools, there are some tips, there are some tricks, there are some hacks that make our knitting life easier. I'm very fortunate that in my knitting life, my long knitting life now, I'm very fortunate that in my knitting life, people have passed down their tricks and hacks to me, and part of the reason I have this channel is so that I can be a part of that chain of knowledge and pass on my favorite tips, tricks, hacks, etc. So that's what I want to do today. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and let's share our favorite knitting hacks. Before we jump into all of the tips, tricks, hacks, what have you, a couple quick pieces of business. A lot of things we're going to talk about are going to range from kind of basic hacks to maybe more advanced hacks, but you want to stay through to the end because I'm actually going to be trying out a hack for the first time. We will see if it succeeds or if it fails. I'm very excited about this one. I have high hopes. Let's just say it involves a loofah. Any supplies or resources that I think are helpful from today's video, I will have links for them down in the description box. Some of these will have clearly marked affiliate links, so if you click on one of those links to do some shopping, I might earn a small commission, and this does help support my channel. It helps me buy materials for a review, for a demonstration, and various other things I need to keep this channel going. It's not just the yarn and the knitting needles and the knitting supplies, it's a whole lot of other things, equipment, applications, all sorts of things that go into keeping this channel going and hopefully making it a success. So if you utilize one of my affiliate links or you leave me a tip through Buy Me a Coffee or a YouTube Super Thanks, thank you so much. It is so greatly appreciated. First thing I want to talk about, I'm going to admit, if you're an experienced knitter, you might be like, duh. But then I'm like, no, gotta talk about it. Crochet hooks. You can use crochet hooks for so many things. There's repairs, there are cast-ons, there are bind-offs that are all made so much easier if you have a crochet hook. Picking up and knitting is like one of my least favorite things to do in knitting. So much easier if you have a crochet hook. So there's 2 things with crochet hooks I really recommend. I've recommended double-ended crochet hooks before. Sometimes they're called repair hooks, and they're exactly what they look like. They're double-ended crochet hooks, and you get one that's good for fine yarn, a crochet hook suitable for medium weight yarn, like worsted weight yarn, and a crochet hook good for bulky yarn, and that's all you need. And you can use these for repairs, for cast-ons. You can use them for picking up and knitting stitches, although I got something better for that. And you can use them for a bind off. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't typically love the standard bind off that we all are taught how to do when we're first taught how to bind off our knitting, but I like it a lot more if I use a crochet hook to do it. In fact, pretty sure I have a video about that. You don't need to know how to crochet to do this because really you're just replacing the right needle with a crochet hook. You use your crochet hook to enter the stitch just like you were with knitting. You grab the yarn with the hook and pull that through. The big difference is instead of passing one stitch over another, you use your hook to pull the new stitch through the previous loop on the crochet hook. There are some nuances to this process, so I do suggest checking out that full-length video, but you do get such great results. I think it's so much easier than using a knitting needle. I'm gonna have a lot of videos I probably talk about in today's because like there's so many things that I've demonstrated the past few years that I've had this channel. So I will create a playlist actually of all the videos that are relevant for today's video, and I'm gonna link that up on a card now. I'll have it down in the description box. There'll be a card at the end of the video that will link to that playlist. So if you want to check any of those videos out, you can. But yeah, 3 double-ended crochet hooks. Cannot recommend them enough. But I got another tip for you with crochet hooks. If you love interchangeable needles, like I love interchangeable needles, you might want to consider getting a set of interchangeable crochet hooks that can work with your interchangeable knitting system. These are the Addy interchangeable crochet hooks, and this is considered a supplementary set. The reason I love having these is because let's say I need to pick up and knit stitches along an edge, a very long edge in particular. I hate doing that with knitting needles, but what I'll do is I'll take off the right tip of my interchangeable needles. I'll stick on my interchangeable crochet hook, and I'll use my crochet hook to pick up and knit those stitches. So much easier with the hook to do that than with a knitting needle. So yes, love having my interchangeable crochet hooks. Love having my double-ended crochet hooks. I can't imagine being a knitter without having at least a few crochet hooks around. To knit is to frog. At some point, you've got to like rip all your stitches out, or at least a huge chunk of stitches. And the scariest thing about that, besides just all the work that you feel like you've lost, have you really lost the work though if you need to frog, or are you really just letting go of the mistake? It's all about perspective, right? But that's a philosophical discussion for another day. But the scariest moment when you're like ripping back the stitches is you now have all these live stitches off the needle, and especially if you're working with slippery yarn like cotton or linen or silk or something like that, it's just sort of like you're almost looking at those stitches going,
please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't ladder down, please don't make this any worse.
And the hardest part is when you're then taking those live stitches and you're trying to put them back up on your needle without laddering down and making your repair worse. As you pick up each live stitch, a little bit of yarn gets pulled out of the next stitch. And invariably, every time you pick up another stitch, it's more likely the next stitch drops. And I find it's like when I get about halfway through the stitches that it gets real, like for real scary. And then one day I learned this tip and it blew my mind, my knitting mind. Use a much smaller, thinner needle. Of course. If you use a much smaller, thinner needle than your working needle to pick up the live stitches, you're probably not going to drop stitches because you won't be pulling out that little bit of yarn from the next stitch. Get yourself a nice long 0 or 000 US needle size circular needle, right? 36, 40 inches long, and just have that in your notions bag. In fact, you can also use that needle as a stitch holder for in the round projects, which can be really, really helpful. Now, you will find, and I do have somewhere, I just can't find them because that's how often I don't use them. They do have these long circular stitch holders that has a little like 2-inch needle on one end. And it looks really great in theory, but what I don't like about that is you can't knit your stitches off of it. The great thing about using an actual long, thin knitting needle to get your live stitches back up safely on a needle is that when you then go to work that row, you can just knit right off of that needle. You don't have to transfer them onto your working needle. So I would say don't waste your money or your time and your life on that. Just get a very long, thin, like the smallest needle you can find, 36 to 40 inches long, and you're gonna be good to go. It's not one of my most popular videos, but one of my favorite videos I ever made was the best multi-tool that you can have in your Notions bag, and that is a paperclip. Yes, the humble paperclip. There's so much you can do with the paperclip as a knitter and with a binder clip. So many cool things. So paperclip, obvious thing, you can use it as a stitch marker and just put it on your needle, you know, instead of one of those ring stitch markers, or you can use it to capture a stitch itself if it's dropped and it's fallen. But it's not just as a stitch marker that you can use a paperclip. You can use a paperclip as a stitch holder. In fact, before I discovered barber cord, I loved using a paperclip as a stitch holder for my thumb gusset stitches. It worked absolutely great at holding my stitches while I worked the rest of a glove. And there's still more that you can do. In an absolute pinch, if you do not have a crochet hook around, you can unbend a paperclip and use it as a crochet hook. Do I recommend that on the regular? No, I do not. I'm not gonna lie. Having tried it, it's tricky, but in a pinch, it does work. If you're wanting to learn how to do Portuguese knitting, paperclip's gonna be great because instead of trying to tension the yarn around your neck, which frankly, putting around the neck, I don't know, I find that just strained. You can put it on your shirt and you can use it as a knitting pin. If you like to do braided joins ever, I love having a binder clip to do a braided join because I can just pop that onto the yarn and keep the yarn secure as I'm braiding the strands together. If you don't know what a braided join is, yes, I have a video on that. Yes, I will link it up here and it will be on the playlist of relevant videos to today's video. But yeah, binder clip and paper clip, like just really two useful office supplies, and I like to keep one of each in my Notions bag, and they're great, just great little helpers that you can use for so many things. I don't think hand washing is actually particularly difficult, but it is work and it can be a little time consuming. But some things that I have found that help. One is this. This is no rinse wool wash. Although even though it's wool wash, I actually use it on cotton as well. And the reason I love this is, well, it's no rinse. So you put this in the water, it cleans your fabric, and then you just dump out the water. Do I know how it works? No. Do I need to know how it works to know that it works? No, I know that it works, and I love just being able to skip the rinse step. I know some people say, oh, use baby shampoo or use Dawn liquid soap to wash your hand knits, and those are legitimate cleansers for your wool and cotton, but you've really got to like make sure that you are rinsing out your fabric really well afterwards. And a no rinse soap avoids all that. Now, this is Eucalyptus. This is the one that I usually have used in the past. I like it because it's unscented, and I like it because there's actually lanolin in this, which kind of helps recondition wool. But if you don't want lanolin, you're allergic to it, or you don't want to put lanolin on your cotton, you can also get soak. That's another well-regarded no rinse wash. Next thing that I cannot live without for my hand knits. This is really for smaller items, but so much of what I knit are hats, gloves, etc. that are smaller items. But it's a salad spinner. I don't know if salad spinners are as popular as they used to be, but when I was getting married, yes, we had a salad spinner on the registry. Did we use the salad spinner a whole lot for like lettuce and such? Not really, but I use my salad spinner all the time when I'm hand washing. So it's great because after your hand knits have been soaking in the water and you dump out the water, you've got a sopping, wet, dripping fabric. It will take forever to dry. So usually the next step is squeezing out water, not wringing. You do not wring your hand washes. The other thing that you can do is you can then take that fabric and roll it up like a burrito in towels and step on the towels and pound on the towels, and I've done all that. But I tell you, for small items, my favorite thing to do is to get this, pop my small item into it, and use this like the rinse cycle just spins it, and the centrifugal spin just wicks out water, and it's great. But I like, this is the OXO one, I like that it has a brake so I can stop the spinning. You don't need a fancy OXO one, it just happens to be the one I commandeered from the kitchen to use for my knit leg, because that's what you do as a knitter. You just commandeer things, right? Like, there's so many things that I have commandeered, and this is one of them, and I love it. Let me know down in the comments, what have you commandeered from your kitchen or the office for your high fiber life? I'm very excited about this one. I'm going to be doing it with you, this one. I don't know about you, but I sometimes find that my skein or ball of yarn or cake of yarn is a pain in the tushy. It wants to fall apart. It wants to roll around. It will always roll under a couch. There's something about knitting physics. I don't understand what it is. If you have a ball of yarn, it will always roll under the couch. Always. It never rolls forward away from the couch. It's like a magnet, pulls it under the couch every time. Well, some clever people came up with the idea of a yarn cozy or a skein cover that's supposed to help manage your ball. And I mean, they're cute. I will say they're very cute looking, but also I'm like, I can't spend money on that. And how many would I need at any given time? Like, it just seemed like, But I don't mind spending $1 on a loofah and see if I can turn it into a yarn cozy. Here's the idea of this. All this nylon netting that's here is in fact like a tube of nylon netting. And there's just this center thread holding this whole ball together. So you're supposed to be able to just take a pair of scissors and cut that. Here we go. Did it. All right, so I cut this open. Just get the thread out. And it opens up. And now all you have to do is cut this tube to make a yarn cozy. So I've got this cake of yarn here. Let's see, I think I'm gonna just take the end. I'll just put it over this like so. And then I'll just cut it across. So now I should be able to straighten this netting out and have a yarn cozy. Except I think this is actually too big. Fail. So this didn't work for me. Go away. You're terrible. But I got another idea for a DIY yarn cozy, and that involves a sock. And I've got a good feeling about this one. This sock, no longer useful for me. It has a big old hole in it. So I'm gonna cut the heel off. I got a good feeling about this one. And then I'm gonna cut off the toe. And then use this as a yarn cozy. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so this at least fits, but will the thread come out? I like to pull from the outside. And it's pulling out! Yes! Success! Ah, we snatched success from the jaws of defeat. I'm so excited! Yes! So, loofah's a fail. We are not doing loofahs, but actually, I am very excited about this because I hate, like, I never know what to do with old socks. But this is exciting because this is something like a DIY hack I could use that would be actually really useful. So this is a hack win. So yeah, cut up an old sock with holes in it, not gonna wear anymore. Wash it first. Wash your old socks first. Wash your sock first, then cut it up, and you got yourself a DIY yarn cozy. All right, so those are the hacks I have for today, and I would love to hear from you. What tips, tricks, hacks have you seen today that you might use? Or is there one that you use and you have an opinion about? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. But yeah, if you have any hacks of your own that I haven't talked about that you want to share with everybody or just share with me, I love to hear about it because I'm always wanting to learn new tips and tricks for knitting. I just love it. Obviously, there's all of this happening. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If so, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your other fiber-loving friends. Liking, sharing, commenting on videos are all great ways to help support my channel. That engagement really tells YouTube that this video is enjoyed and should be shared far and wide so other people can discover this space and we can grow this community together. I'm so grateful to all of you who have stuck with me these years, doing this channel, commenting everything. I appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for all of that engagement. If you have not already, please make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Clicking the notification bell, depending on your settings, will let you know whenever I upload a new video or short. Maybe I'll start live streaming again. I've been tooling around with it, what have you. But yeah, notification bell so you can keep up with what's happening on Carrie Craft Geek. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, weeknight, whenever you might be enjoying this. And as always, happy health and happy making. Bye.